Hello viewers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time of tuning into our channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, in today's tutorial we'll be learning on how to cut and sew a perfect collar with a slight long and front surface. All right, so the first thing I will do now is to take the length of my first collar. It comes in two forms. All right, I'll be using a wideness of 2.5 inches. With this, I'll attach this to my neckline. All right, so I measured my neckline. The wideness of my neckline is 16 inches, so I added 1 inch for joining allowance. All right, making 17 inches. Okay, so once that is done, I'll go ahead and cut it all out. I'll go ahead and trim it out. So after trimming it out now, I'll go ahead and divide this one into two because I need it in two pieces. Okay? I'll go ahead and divide this. So wideness of 2.5 and length of 17. So at this point now, I'll still go ahead and fold another fabric into 4 using a wideness of 8, that's making it 16. So the main measurement for this is actually 15, so we'll use 16, 1 inch for joining allowance. So the wideness of this now is 3.5. Then from the front side, I'll go up by 6.5 inches. The wideness for this side is 3.5, the front 6.5, so I'll have to blend the two together. All right, if this is done and I've confirmed it, everything is perfect, I'll go ahead and cut it all out. Right, I'm just trying to confirm the length of it. All right, so the wideness of it, sorry. So I'll go ahead now and cut this out. All right, so the length of it now, I used 8. If when you spread open, you should be getting 16. All right, so but the main wideness is about 15. That's what we need. I added extra 1 inch sewing allowance. All right, so I'll go ahead and divide this now into 2 equal half. So I'll go ahead and indicate the front and the back with my chalk. So after this is done, I also got my hard stay that will help the collar to be very firm. Okay, so at this moment now, I've placed it under my main fabric. Then I'll go ahead and take the shape of this. Yeah, so from the upside, ensure I take exactly the shape of the main fabric, not the hard stitch. So after this is done, ensure you place you arrange your fabric well while you sew to also enable the fabric sit perfectly on our thick stay. So this fabric is a bit stretchy, so what I'll just have to do is just to arrange and sew. If not, it will gather. All right, so if not, the fabric might be a bit excess than the stay. All right, so after this is done now, we'll go ahead and notch the curved surface. Go ahead and give it a nice notch. Go ahead and notch the surface. So after notching the surface now, we'll trim out the excess hard stay. All right, just go ahead and trim out the excess hard stay. Then once this is done, we'll go ahead and turn it all up. Okay, it might be a bit difficult because of that, because the collars are not actually the same measurement all around, so we'll have to use anything as scissors to push out the edges out. All right, so this is it. So after this is done now, once we are sure that it's actually okay, we'll go ahead and give it a nice press like this. All right, at this point now we've ironed the collar, so we'll go ahead and top stitch at the tip to have everything in one piece. All right, so we'll go ahead and top stitch it, then trim out any excess fabric or thick stay and thread. Go ahead and trim them all out. So once this is done now, we'll keep this aside. All right, so this is what we have. We'll keep it aside. Okay, then we have our the long part for that will be attached to the neck, directly to the neck, while the collar on it. All right, so like I said, the length of it is actually, the main length of this is actually 16 inches. So we added extra 1 inch for seam allowance. All right, while the other one that has a curved, the collar, the main measurement is 15, but we added extra 1 inch allowance, making 16. So at this point now, I just measured my 16, then I have to measure the remaining allowance, then place at each edges. Place at each edges. So once this is done now, I will ensure I have everything all together. Then I'll start my sewing from the tip. Ensure I notch very well. Then stop right where my chalk is. Alright, I'll just stitch and stop right there. Then I'll sew the other side as well. I'll start my sewing from the side I marked my chalk. That's the measurement of the neckline. Then turn and sew it all the way down. Alright, so if this is done now, I'll have to place my main collar inside the straight one. Alright, we'll have to place it right inside. Alright, so you place the side that is actually rough, because you will use a pin to secure if you like, or anyhow you can handle it. Alright, so at this point now, after placing it inside, we'll go ahead and top stitch. We'll go ahead and stitch on it. Alright, so in short, to maintain the same measurement for your sewing, remember what we actually kept for this is 2.5 inches, but after sewing and all, we should be getting about 2 inches or less than. Alright, so now at this point now, the collar is in between these two, the two straight one. Right, so we ensure we have everything in one piece. Then we'll go ahead and stitch at this point, then take off the excess thread and all. So we'll try to turn this up, so ensure you bring out all the edges out because of our stay. All right, and take off anything that you know that is not meant to be there. And also we're trying to bring out all the edges out so we can give it a nice press and attach it to the neckline of our dress. Okay, all right, so this is what we have for now. This is how it looks like. So we're still trying to push out the edges. Okay, so this is it. At this point now, we'll go ahead and give it a nice press. All right, so this is the neckline, our neckline. So when you get to round it, you should be having about 16. Okay, so we'll place it on the neck side, starting from the front. You can actually use a pin now to secure this. All right, so it all depends on the side you would like to sew first. You might choose to sew on the hard side first before using the side without a hard stay to turn it all up. Okay, so we placed our collar on the back side, on the wrong side of our dress. So place it on the wrong side. So we use about 1/2 inch to do this joining now. So ensure to stitch when immediately you start sewing. All right, so once you sew, ensure to arrange your fabric or your dress. Okay, so this is actually how it looks like. So we'll have to sew it all the way around, using the same measurement, 1/2 inch. Okay, so we started actually from the front and we'll actually end at the front. Okay, since the front has an opening, the back doesn't have any opening, so we ensure we end it right at the front. So when we get to this side now, we'll stitch and take off any excess thread. All right, so we've turned to the front now. So at this point now, we'll go ahead and fold this. We'll still use our pin to secure the tip. All right, so the folding should actually be very neat. It all depends on how you want to do your folding. All right, so we'll just fold it right at the tip. We'll just fold it right at the tip, and the folding should be able to cover the joinings we did, for the first joining we did. All right, so at this point now, after this is done, we'll go ahead and start the sewing exactly at the tip of this. All right, so ensure to be very careful, since our stay is actually hard, except you're not using a very hard stay like the way I used mine. All right, so at this point now, I'll just sew only at the tip. Ensure to give a very nice and clean stitches. Okay, so while you sew, ensure to arrange your fabric while you sew. Okay, all right, especially when you're dealing with a slightly stretchy fabric. Okay, so you don't need anything that will make the material to gather. So at this point now, we'll actually do this sewing slowly and very neat. Okay, so this is how it looks like. This is actually the neckline joining, so remember it to be visible, so it needs to be very neat. Okay, so at this point now, go ahead and stitch. So once this is done, we'll take off the excess thread and also take off the excess thread on this side as well. So at this point now, we'll give a spacing of about 1/2 inch between the first stitches. Okay, and we'll top stitch on this side. All right, it actually give a nice look and a neat finishing as well. So this is how we'll just stitch on it. All right, so after this is done, we'll go ahead and give our last stitches. Okay, so I do mine, I leave a spacing from the neck side for the collar. So I give a spacing of about, it all depends on how many inches, so I just start my sewing from here and end exactly the same space I started my sewing. All right, so if you find this video very helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow my YouTube channel. This is HB Fashions GY. All right, so after this is done now, we'll go ahead and give this a nice press and put in our buttonholes and all. All right, so this is how it looks like. This is what we have. All right, so go ahead and iron up. All right, so this is actually the final look of it. This is our dress. This is how it looks like. Okay, all right, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow my YouTube channel. Don't forget to share my videos. Okay, don't also forget to turn up your notification button, so whenever we get to drop new videos, you will actually get notifications and follow up. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.